voice trapped in day. The hell? Oh. There you go. Back to listening to the other OST, because why not? Although, you know what? So I'm gonna be doing some grinding. That's literally it. I want to do everything in this game. I've decided I don't just want to finish the post game. I want to do everything. And no, Muratsumi doesn't count. So let's go. As I have no patience and I actually want to play other games like Mary Skelter and Labyrinth of Delaria and the Atelier series and Elden Ring and a lot of games, alright? In order to make things faster, I need to decide on a main team. I can't just keep leveling up everyone, although... No, nothing's stopping me from leveling up everyone. It'll be a bit tedious, but I'm gonna be leveling down everyone once again. To make sure I have enough inventory for all the bullshit I'm gonna be doing. For all the bullshit I'm gonna be unequipping. You know what? I'm gonna listen to my own music. Mute that shit. Oops, looks like I accidentally downloaded something else. This is Honkai Impact OST, by the way.
Unfortunately, Corticon died in a car accident. So I have a new host to help me today, Kev DOG.
What's good? What's good? Long time listener, first time caller. I can't wait to rank the drip of the villains of JoJo today with my man Chewy Dog.
If I buy your channel, I'm gonna rename it to Kev Dog 1. So what are we thinking? Who's part 1?
Dio is part 1 drip. You know, obviously at the start,
I don't think I'm gonna change anyone's subclass.
suit tie style, and this dive at the flag and stuff like that. And then he evolved to have this reddish sort of thing going on. And the star looks like circus on Sebastian's hair. There's a lot of color in this outfit. Dio has drip, without a doubt. His charisma, swagger, that really makes him like Dio and his drip. It's not doing him any favors. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I kind of like this drip. I kind of like this drip. The green and the red with the yellow brown. It's a very natural color. And then the red, you know, obviously kind of gives you some like vampire vibes. You know, I kind of like this drip.
If I saw someone go up the street with this, I would kind of
Look at the boots.
right?
Like they have like a weird blue thing on the front. I hate that.
It's like a trapeze artist.
Circus vibes. It's weird.
This is the trapeze.
Can I do it a third time?
Respectably
Nope.
young.
Alright.
If I
Well,
saw
twice should hopefully be enough.
shit 30
He's coming home from prep school. He's ready. He just got home. He's about to do his couches homework. I don't know if couches is part one.
I love it.
I will say, the drip from the video, crazy. That drip goes so hard. You know, the one with like the white, like kind of fancy looking shirt. This drip goes hard. Like, Dio really like has something going. And it's like I think it's like a white shirt, black pants. Like it's very simple, but it's just I don't know. Obviously the gold accent on it matches his hair.
That was cool. I don't remember ever hearing that anywhere. Maybe it was promotional music. Gacha games are 90% promotion and 10% of the 10% actual game. Or at the very least with frickin' Hoyo Lab. Hoyoverse. That's how it feels. Raging wind, while your visage fades away, and the world lies in pieces at my feet. Fight in the storm, in the snow and the wind, struggle inside, help me get inside. Hear my cloud keep on and on, that wax and wane took its ebb and flow. Sailor, sailor, chanting evermore. All the boys trapped in there. Struggle inside, help me gain insight. Hail my cloud, dream on and and on that wasn't range to its ebb and flow. Silla, chanting evermore. Hill, oh hill, all the boys trapped in there. Feel my proud with on and on. I want to try the normal color. Whoa, hello there, lizard. Ugh. Oh, sure, Umag can't. Who else here potentially can't? Athelid and Mayara. Gosh darn it. Well, that's no problem, I suppose. I'll just have to retire them the second time later, a little later. But it is annoying, I'll have to reorganize everyone again. Mayara can just barely retire again. So I guess we'll not be the only exception. That kinda sucks. If that's the case. Oh, the faces of the alt colors different for the second one. Oh, and this guy has the stupid eyes. I wanna try the other color. Variety in appearance is good. Shit. That's a lot of daggers and summer tweeds. I get what's going on now. Now let me use the other DLC. I know this guy is a guy, but I don't give a fuck. Pronouns are still she/her. Oh, how come Epholid and V3 are different? Oh, never mind, they both have 101. Weird, but okay. So, I'm guessing you're the king now. I know where we must go in the night. 世界な気のしたり手の見せるなくに進む What if I tried Hoplite? Yeah, I'll make Umag the farmer. Or, no wait, Umag isn't. したい世界から揺らしたい願いがりあなたに進む会いに行くどかい Because I want Mar to be in the back with a spear. Sure. What if I make Vale the farmer? Why not? Is that you in this world. Oh, Nadia, I used to see you smile. He as a farmer could honestly work pretty well too. We fly low. Better than just having her do nothing but heal all over and over again. But the monk is more convenient. We already have Dale acting as the farmer, so... First, everyone gets combat study. Jeez, we already have so many skill points. Whatever you do, you cannot break this rule. Tear yourself up to a rule that breaks me too. Look up to the sky, hear the silence. Darling, forgive me now. Take me out of the pain. The day is bright, too high to define. So much despair, so many twists. Like a cat, as my life is not enough. Look up to the sky, hear the silence.
Oh, darling, forgive me now. Take me out of the pain. The red is bright, too hard to define. So much despair, so many curses. Oh, darling.
Oh, darling. I take danger like ecstasy. Become your worst enemy. Screeching is my melody. The death makes me celery.
Oh, darling, forgive me now.
Take me out of the pain.
The red is bright,
Too
too
hard to define.
so much despair, so many curses. Oh, darling, forgive me now. Take me out of the pain.
na 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 Let me try Shogun for Umag. I don't think Ninja works for Mayara. But what can work? Actually, I can't think of anything else that could work, so sticking to Ninja. Boom, 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 pa 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 pa. Umag really bugs me. Oh god damn it.
Matches his hair, which is also just super great. Like Neo, he definitely must have had a stylist or something.
No one in the 1800s was dressing this nice realistically. I mean, unless you're like royalty, like no preppy boy is gonna be walking around in this outfit.
The brown gloves, it gives you that sense of like masculinity at the same time. Like, I'm ready to beat you.
Oh my god! What is that, a blazer?
He looks like he's about to run for like a political campaign.
I like this outfit way more than Jonathan's.
Just hate Jonathan's tie.
It's such a stupid
Sure, I
tie.
forgot
It
to
kind
do
of
combat
reflects their
studies. Yes.
personalities in the part, you know what I
On
mean?
the
Because
front.
Jonathan is very like,
Yeah, he's brown. He's bland.
bland.
Yeah, that's a color brown.
Yeah, I can tell, but it's just like saying it's bland. It's just like, damn.
People get upset when I say that, so I'm gonna say it more.
The color palette improvement, oh my god. Like this clears the circus tent and it's the same outfit.
It makes him look more like a vampire, which is what he's supposed to be, versus a circus clown. So what are we thinking it on the tier list, though? We have to remember that there's still a bunch of other guys, too.
The one in the frame is the best outfit. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's the best outfit. I personally would put it in a solid A for now, because we don't know what it'll be
Whoa.
S tier.
My favorite outfit is probably this one. This is something I would wear. Oh my god, I didn't even see this one. Oh my god.
That's drip. See, that's another like natural color thing, but then that pop of pink right there.
You know what this is? This is how you tell other people that you're gay in the 1800s. Yeah,
Pink ascot.
because you can't be too forward with it, right? Because, you know, then you'll get harassed and stuff. So this is
Exactly.
like, it's a code for other gay people. I think
I
A...
think A is
personally-
clean.
No, I think A is a tad generous. Personally, I
Okay,
would say
okay.
B.
Okay, B's fine. B's fine. Now,
There's-
the thing about Cars' drip
there's no
is that
drip
he's
here.
barely wearing anything.
Yeah, what drip is there to judge?
I mean, his hair is fabulous. Like,
Let's see someone I know. You know what this is?
You know, Hot Light
His
might be
body
better.
is so good that he doesn't want to cover it up with clothing. Because there's no drip
More
that would
defense to
be
deal
better
with the
than
fact
just
that
showing
she's
off
always
his body.
hurting
he had the
herself.
turban on, obviously. He was confining himself because of the sun. You know, if he touched the sun, he would die. But now he no longer has to fear it, so he's willing to actually dress the way he wants to, which is apparently almost nothing. With the trench coat, the turban, this was a drippy outfit.
I'm not a huge fan of this outfit. I think his full... I'll get better when he's
Gladiator
at his
gives
close-up
more
arms than all he
offense.
gets. How is he getting all that hair under that turban? There was a lot of hair.
A lot of bobby pins. A lot of bobby pins.
Yeah, I'll
a
stick
lot
with
of,
Gladiator.
a lot of shenanigans going on under there.
No,
Yeah, no, this
is
is not it. This is not it. Like the chest half covered. Yeah, like what is this? The kneecaps.
It's like he's about to play rugby. I also like the sandals. I like it whenever the villain's got they're letting the pigs out, you know?
See, but then he gets rid of the sandals. He gets rid of the
No.
sandals because he
He's
was
got
in
to put
his
the dogs back inside. This looks like a WWE outfit.
cars. You're the ultimate life form. What are you protecting your shins for?
Now, I might be a little biased, but the long flowing hair is kind of like my favorite part of Cars.
Absolutely, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous hair. But I just realized a travesty. So check that previous picture of Cars, Laura below, right there. Dude, the boots aren't boots. What are those? Like literally, what are those, bro?
You know how everyone in Part 5's got the little boob window?
Yes.
He's got like calf windows. What do you think compared to Dio, though?
Dio is definitely over this dude. This dude, he's a solid C. His hair is too good to be in D tier. Imagine if Cars was bald. Wow, going super analytical right there with the outfit.
Yeah, you're the analytical side. I'm the side that says, I don't like the way it looks.
What is this drawing? He looks like the grandma from SpongeBob. Why are they selling?
I think high C.
Like the drink?
No! High C on the tier list. What do you think about the Part 3 Dio? Do you think he's better with or without the coat?
Without the coat.
Really?
He's shredded and he knows it.
This is my favorite Dio outfit. Why does he have jester shoes? It's like an elf. What is
So
his
this outfit
toes
is
curled upwards?
This isn't leather. This looks like gold.
Oh, nothing less than gold for Dio.
I always love calling him like, this is the banana fit. Because his hair, it kind of looks like banana.
I think this goes crazy.
With the red cloak, goes hard.
Oh,
This is it.
My
This goes hard. And like the way it's like a dark red, like a deep dark red, like
blood red. Yeah.
Exactly. It's so clean. I think
Go ahead.
it's so good because it just completely goes against the normal color scheme you have, the yellow and the gold, the green, you know, and it clashes so hard.
Like I'm a sucker for cloaks.
So I'm gonna put this straight to A.
Yeah, me too. Maybe
We both
low
like-
S, depending on how the other
Low,
ones go.
low S, it could be possible. I feel like the Part 3 Dio, just him in essence, like as a whole, is so severely like underrated.
It's Dio Unleashed, because he was reserved in Part 1, but by Part 3, he didn't need to reserve himself. This is the outfit of a man who died and then came back 100 years later to kill the man who killed him's grandson. That's the kind of outfit you'd wear for that occasion. A low S. One of the, definitely way better than and these two.
It's Rocky's first step into like the fashion game.
I might be biased. I'm gonna just go out with my balls swinging here, just lay out my whole show all my cards. I absolutely love this outfit.
He is all business, but
He's got no
his
time
little,
for games.
He's got his little flair, his little accessories. Like look at his tie. Look at his quirky little tie right there. Look at this color palette. what is this, like a periwinkle? You know what this looks like? This is like Blue's Clues. You ever watch Blue's Clues?
What?
You ever
I
watch
was
Blue's
just like,
Clues?
no, I know Blue's Clues. What does that have to do with this?
Because Blue had some friends, Periwinkle and Green Puppy. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love the business outfits. That's why I love the outfits in Chainsaw Man, because they're all just wearing suits the whole time. What kind of person has a tie of their stand?
Imagine you were like a normal businessman who works with Hero, right? And then you're just like, hey, bro, I gotta ask, like, why did you start wearing cat skull ties to work? Because they don't know about stands, right?
But how do you get that done?
Did you go to like Hot Topic?
Hot topic! For a man that wants a quiet life, who is willing to kill someone and completely take over their life just to get away, it seems kind of ballsy to then get, like, the iconography of your stand printed on a tie and just wear that around. But that is ballsy, and that's why I love it too. Post Bites of Dust, he's just like, oh, I love the white suit. People who've seen the Joe Starcher video, the white suit, Jotaro's white suit got him. That's what this is doing to me too. If I would wear this in real life.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be going around in Car's outfit. There is no outfit. I'm a bit biased. This is supposed to be all about the drip. I'm not supposed to be judging them based on like how much I like them as a character. My biases are showing.
This dude, you literally see his drip evolve as his stand evolves and he evolves. It's crazy. But I think this is an indisputable best.
I agree. Yeah, I love to see it. I love to see my boy up there with the big dogs. Since Doppio and Diavolo are the same Since Doppio and Diavolo inhabit the same body, we're just gonna rank both of them and then we're gonna average it out. I'm not liking this.
I think the sweater is fire. I'm a huge fan of the sweater. It looks very soft. It looks very, plush.
Do freckles count?
Our freckles drip, Hey, if you got it, flaunt it. I think the purple shade kind of stuff we got going from the top to the bottom, that's drip. Now his hair is kind of crusty.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like Jimmy
I forgot to give
Neutron?
ES
Like Jimmy Neutron if his hair got wet.
Yeah, like a
dual
side
wielding as
Jimmy
well.
Neutron, and then the back is like some weird like braid thing going on.
Whoops.
But you like this one?
Yeah, this is kind of
Whatever.
something, man.
Still do
Don't be
support for the
overused
most part for now.
I don't know. I think the sweater's pretty cool.
I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's fine. I'm like the hair brings it down. The freckles are my favorite part. I'm being honest.
I think that the purple on
The colors are nice.
magenta E. That's a great. And that first panel with the manga panel, that's clean. That's drip. I just don't like the sweater is good, but that gash right there is so like strange. Like you were talking about the boob window, it's so strange. But I do like the bottom of the sweater. That is pretty cool. But the boob window is strange.
It's less like a boob window and more like a. This guy is trying to copy Cars now. We already had one guy who barely had an outfit on. Now we have another guy not even wearing a shirt.
Oh, and they do share the same pants.
So he takes off the shirt, but he doesn't change his pants. Curious.
And he changes the hair.
How does the hair grow? How did it do that? You just take it out of the braid?
Oh! It could be that. I never even thought of that,
And
to
then you
be
just take it out of
honest.
the braid?
I literally have never even thought of that.
That would be annoying having to rebraid your hair every time. Swap personalities. Who do you think got the tattoo, Doppio or Diavolo? One of them had to be the one to go, I'm gonna get a tattoo.
I'm gonna guess. I think it's probably Diavolo. He's like, alright, look, I did this. I'm getting the tattoo.
What kind of gang leader, though, of like the biggest mafia in Italy is gonna get a random tattoo? Would he not want to get a tattoo of like Passion's branding?
The tattoo looks kind of weird. It kind of looks like, I don't know if it looks like, it's like a seahorse.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But the back of a seahorse?
Oh my god, you know what it is?
What?
It's Rocky's done playing the long game with this. Whoa! Look how much better the tattoo is here.
Yeah, it's like way like longer. It goes down his whole arm. He's also got this like gold accessory on his arm in the manga, right? Like a sort of like bracelet kind of thing. But in the anime, it's like it's weird green, like sweat wristband looking thing. Yeah,
It actually is the Joshu wristband.
I'm not rocking with the Joshua wristband.
Look, you're not him. You think you're him, but you're not him.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not reading the Joshua Lands right now. I'm sorry.
The more I look at this, the more I like it.
Yeah, the lingerie goes hard. I think.
We keep talking over each other the whole recording. Okay, you go.
I think I like the lingerie, but I'm not like 100% on the lingerie.
When I first saw Diavolo after seeing Doppio, I remember my reaction. My reaction was, ew, what the hell is this? But I don't know, the years have made me soft. The years have made me soft, and I'm looking at this now and I'm like, you know what, I kind of vibe with it a lot more now. It's unique. It's very unique.
I think the back of the lingerie weirds me out.
Like fish fins.
Yeah,
As lingerie goes, this is probably some of the coolest lingerie.
it's very like intricate. You know?
It's holding his pants up.
Yeah, it's like suspender lingerie.
It is. Look, it literally is holding his. Without his pants, he'd be naked. He'd be cars.
What do you think of his hair though, with those spots? I kind of rock
Totally.
the spots.
Long hair does something to me. So what do you think it beats? Who do you think it beats?
It definitely beats Cars.
100%.
Right. I don't think it beats old Dio, but I think it beats young Dio.
I think it's like here or here.
Completely agree.
One of these two.
I would personally put it top of B because I think the Dio banana fit.
I think
is
Doppio.
good.
I think Doppio brings it down a bit too. I think Diavolo's outfit
Yeah.
is a lot better than Doppio's. What about Shadow Diavolo?
Shadow Dio. Bro, I don't know if we can rank that.
How does this guy become Diavolo?
Oh, we got it. There's a picture right there under that. Maybe that's that.
Brother. He looks like Giovanni. I have some thoughts about Pucci. That when he's first introduced, the hair, but also the like plus marks in his eyes, I was not a fan of at all. Looks like Megamind.
He's looking like he's about to be like Colt.
He's got like weird hair loss issues where it's like he's balding in the weirdest places.
You know when people see like the front of a car and like the headlights and see like faces? It looks like he tried to do that on his head.
Like, I didn't like the way Pucci looked at the beginning. This is a bit better, but the hair, even like when he fixed his baldness issues, I wasn't a fan. You know, I like the long hair. What's he doing with this like buzz cut? But then, when he got the long hair after fusing with the Green Baby, his outfit after that went absolutely bonkers. It is crazy. The Joestar birthmark, the hair that goes through little rings on his outfit,
That's crazy.
that's insane. Where did the hair come from?
The baby, bro.
Baby had no hair.
So there's a lot to discuss here because Pucci has had a radical, not like a redesign, but like he's had a lot of like phases. You know what I mean?
He's like a teen, like going through different phases, trying stuff out. He was unsure what he wanted to look like.
What do you think of the hair on the face connecting to like the eyebrows?
I like the way it looks on Newman.
I'll save here just in
Pucci
case.
after
Okay.
Green Baby. I think it looks because he's got this star. I love the star on his forehead. Cause get it, Joestar. Is that the Joestar birthmark? That's how I always interpreted it.
No, the star being on the head, that's fire. But I mean like the
Everything else.
the beard line, you know.
It's like Gyro's beard.
That line over the nose, man, it drives me insane.
That must get itchy.
Like, what is that even? What would that sensation even be? Humans can't even grow hair there, except if they have like cancer. What's really, really interesting to me is like we've only talked about his facial hair and like his appearance because his outfit is like literally just a priest's robe.
But it goes crazy. I would not go to my local Catholic service and see the priest wearing this. This is like gothic, like super neo-priest.
Like, this isn't a Catholic service, this is a Catholic serving. I do think the black and gold, that hits, but I could also say the same with the purple and gold, you know, like the purple and gold, obviously you got the Roman color scheme.
I think the black outfit looks better too.
The black is clean. I like the little red little beads on the side too.
Like, oh my god, this is the image I was trying to find earlier. This one shot from the anime just perfectly encapsulates early design Pucci. What is happening in his eyeballs? What does that look like?
I kind of like the eyes, man. I know, something about it. It's very like creepy, and it adds a lot. It adds a lot to it, you know.
You know what would make me like it? If instead of pluses they were crosses.
Oh, that's what I always assumed. That was the intention.
If they were a cross, it would be a bit higher.
Also, I will say his eyebrows turning white. That was true. That was an amazing decision. Not his eyebrows, his eyelashes.
They look like the Green Baby's eyelashes. Looks like you get your fingers trapped between his
Yeah,
eyes.
it looks like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah. So where would we put him on the list?
I don't think he's S tier. I don't know if you think he's S tier, but
Well, I think he's better than Cars. He's better than old Dio. And then this is where we actually have to start thinking. I would say he's better than Diavolo.
I would as well.
Just because of the later outfits. For me personally, dude, the hair going through the cufflets, I can't get over that.
It's so sick. Poochie's designing, it changes very, like, it's not slightly, but it's, little changes at a time. And it's kind of emblematic of him changing as a character. I think low A.
Yeah, no, I would put that. That's where I was leaning. Why is this image so much brighter than all the others?
Because he's in Florida.
What do we think about President Valentine?
Okay, so I'll say it. My man has drip. His hair. Who else do you see rocking like this Uzumaki hairstyle?
Me. I think we have to knock down points for this. I hope when they do Steelbook Run anime adaptation, I hope they just don't have this guy.
I
hope
think they
just-
have to have him though. I think they have to. Just to
I don't know.
emphasize how insane the glow up was.
Look at this, bro. What the hell is this? You're taking orders from that guy? This is the guy you elected? This is the guy you Americans elected into office?
He looks like Rumpelstiltskin.
Jesus, man. This guy's got better drip than the president.
His hair is
Yeah,
fast.
well,
I
you're
definitely
stupid
like
as
when he
American.
becomes
Well, he
Giga
might
Chad
not
and
actually be
Alpha
American. But
Oh, of course.
Donald Trump,
Like, if this was him
I don't
alone,
need to
as
say anymore.
all pink and purple with the blonde hair, he's like Prince Peach.
And the
Look
gloves
at the
just
gloves.
they're royal. I hard vibe with the American flag in the back.
It's awesome.
It's
so
probably
awesome.
like one of my favorite like design choices. Maybe in the whole series, having the American flag burned into this guy's back. It makes me patriotic. It makes me love America. It makes me want to go celebrate 4th of July.
I don't think this guy is rooted for America as a whole, but
Dude, I don't care. I would give the Pledge of Allegiance. I want to make Funny Valentine NFTs. Oh, shoot.
No.
Does this
that's
deduct points as well?
horrendous.
I forgot about this. Is this going to deduct points as well?
Yo, that is horrid. Not hard, horrid for those.
No, I got that.
Yeah.
Man,
Holy
see, it's
crap.
crazy. He's got so much crazy drip, but then he's got, like, this.
It's like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Like, this is miserable. He looks like Dolomite from Part 8 right now. Like, how did this happen?
Oh, I know how it happened. What do you think of the is it sleeves? Why did I have trouble saying the word sleeves? I like it with the sleeves.
No, I like it with the sleeves more, with the pink on the top. See, I feel like there's a difference here, though. Because Valentine is meant to be very, like, professional.
He's a diplomat.
Exactly. Dio doesn't have to worry about that. So I feel like him with this fits better.
This is my favorite Valentine. The pink is way better than the white.
Yeah, I think the white is too basic. And I think the pink also is cool because the stand is obviously like blue and pink, so it matches with the stand a little.
Ew! Ew!
He's like a Miss Piggy.
Okay, that was uncalled for, man. I wasn't putting it there.
Oh my
He's
god.
definitely short and fat.
He's like Miss Piggy because he's like all about me.
Better than these three. Better than Poochie.
I think he should be S with Kira, but all the bad drip like knocks him down, like what we did with Doppio Diavolo.
right.
So he's definitely A.
I would put him here. I think, like, Part 3 Dio is way more consistent with his outfits. Valentine's all over the place. The highs of Valentine are higher than Dio, but the lows of Valentine are lower than Dio.
The lows of Valentine are like lower than anyone else on this list.
So the fact
So
that he's
it's
still
like-
getting an A is pretty darn impressive.
He is presidential drip.
What are we thinking of Damo? Oh my god! This is my favorite shot of Damo.
It's like my man Gustavo Rock hopped into JoJo.
He's got string cheese hair. I want to pull on him.
The ramen hair, the string cheese hair. His hair, it kind of looks like a.
He looks like he would smell.
He definitely like he smokes a pack of Newports a day.
He looks like I would take my finger and go across his forehead, and I would just have like my finger would be like a grease pan afterwards.
And that's not from his hair care products. That's from his sweat. Look, David, dude, Gustavo Rock, he's right there. He's literally right there. I said it. Look, it's him. It's him, man. Like, you know, much love to Gustavo Rock's actor, obviously. you were the voice of a generation.
Yeah, we're just comparing you to this really ugly guy that we're about
Yeah.
to see drip.
No, Gustavo has drip. There's the difference there. Like Gustavo, he's breaking new ground.
What is with that? I hate the mustache.
It's like the Hulkster, the Hulk Hogan stash, you know?
He doesn't pull it off. Dude, go bald. Dude, shave it all off and rock like a welterweight. Just go full bald. He could actually rock the welterweight outfit with the glasses, the bald hair, a little bit of facial hair. Get more facial hair to get the welterweight goatee. I think that would work better for him.
Because he's pretty close in a lot of these panels to getting a goatee. It just doesn't connect at the bottom.
You think his mustache, is it like attached to the skin there, or does it flap around in the wind?
I think it's attached. I don't think he has a comb over mustache. That'd be too bad.
His outfit is terrible, and that's like the point of his character. He's supposed to have a terrible outfit. He's supposed to have zero drip. It's supposed to be crazy when you're supposed to do the pog face when Hato comes home and brings this guy and is like, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend now. You're supposed to go, ain't no shot. And so Araki intentionally made this guy have the worst drip imaginable. I'm gonna say DD.
D for Damo.
Yeah, that's the only reason we have this tier is for Dama. Unless, this guy, I'm getting frustrated looking at these images. Okay, wait. As much as I hate the guy, I kind of like the hood.
I don't like the hood because this hood reminds you of the scene. The scene that involved this hood. Yeah, I don't like it.
This guy's so gross. He's eating bees. He's so cringe. Hate this guy.
He's a cringe nay baby.
Credit where credit is due. Again, because I have to be unbiased here. When his hair becomes full mushroom mode, that's when I think it's at its best. When it's like early Toru, yeah, when it's early Toru and it's like, it looks like hair, like you can see like it's got the like consistency of hair.
I kind of like that. I kind of like the curly.
I mean, okay. Well, okay, here it's
I wish
actually
they
fine.
kept the afro.
It's-
I wish
his
Araki
hair
kept the
it
afro
doesn't look good
style.
here. I think once it starts growing out, his hair, it looks better and better, and I think it peaks with mushroom.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it was
will
pretty hard to
disagree,
draw. I
but
don't
I
know.
do think the hair is
It'll
creative.
be even harder
And
to
it
animate.
makes him look shady.
When part
and, like,
8 comes
there's always
out, then
shadow looming over.
22,
Look, this guy agrees
22.
with me.
Yeah, I know. Who's that guy?
I wonder who made this video. He like the anime style does not look good on him either. That looks so gross. This is what I'm talking about. This hair.
Yeah,
is what
this
I'm
was
talking about.
awful.
The hair
This
on the
was
left here.
horrible.
This is what I'm referring to. This looks awful, and the green lipstick does not
Guess I'll
fit
stick
him.
with this
I
team
mean,
for now
the
because
lipstick was the same.
What do you think of the teddy bear on the outfit?
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan of anything this guy does. And he's not no
His,
cake.
his pants are drippy though. His pants are drippy. His pants are
Clown
drippy.
ass
Like I'll
shoes.
say, I personally follow a rule when it comes to my fashion, and I call it the color sandwich, right? What that is, and Toru's he's so close to the color sandwich, right? What that is say I'm wearing a black shirt like I am right now, right? I'll probably wear some black shoes
the
or
grind
something,
begins.
or something like that, and then whatever pants or whatever I'm wearing, maybe it'll be a different color. It could be
For
black
real.
as well. I usually just wear a lot of black. Toru is so close. Just make the shoes purple, and then we'd be good to go.
As far as I'm aware, the coloring is done by a third party. Araki himself
Oh.
doesn't actually do the colors. In exceptions, Araki
To
did
the
this
color
color
pages.
because for the colored pages in the covers and stuff like that. Those are the ones that Araki does. Like this, Araki didn't choose.
That's actually really interesting. I never knew that.
Get this groomer out of here. I hate this guy.
Tier below Damo.
No, we can't be biased here. We're both two people in this call. We're both two people. Because there's like teams, right? Some JoJo YouTubers actually like Toru.
I know, it's crazy, right?
We're both on
Imagine.
team Toru sucks.
Anti-Toru.
Yeah, anti-Toru.
Yeah.
So we're biased here.
I'll say it. This coloring is interesting because I don't know what shade that is, like fuchsia. I think fuchsia. I'm really taking my visual thinking classes into work. Fuchsia and like that lime green. It's a solid thing he's got going. He's also got that kind of like orangey, browny kind of shade going with the bears and the flower thing. Like Araki had a vision there. The pants that were apparently not colored by Araki, I like more than anything Araki actually did. Like, I don't know, man, those pants go kind of stupid.
If I went outside and I saw this guy, I would spit on him. And not in a fun way. Biases aside, I think he's not as horrendous as Dom.
Oh, not even close. Not even close to that.
So I would say like this. Or maybe even this. It's one of these two.
Because, like, Cars' design is fire. Like, Like, I'll be straight up. I think Card's design, like, as much as we're saying it's not, like, drippy, it's a sick design, right?
Yeah,
Toru is, like,
just the
a
ones
guy.
above him are just better.
Yeah, Toru's just, like, a guy, you know?
Toru is just
His pants, though. His pants,
my
though.
body is telling me this, but my soul is telling me this.
All I'm gonna say is, you know, it's your video, man. You know, my hands are up. You know, I'm ready. Take the wheel.
I think officially he's got to be low C tier. As much as I would love to put anything Toru related into D tier, I kind of like the shiny head. Woo! This is the official tier list that I made with Kev DOG because people really like last time I made a JoJo Drip tier list, and you are a way better host than Corticon. I hate that guy. You have anything you'd like to say, Kev DOG?
Well, I had a fantastic time ranking the drip. You know, I'm very happy our man Kira is straight to S tier and Toru is close to the bottom. And, you know, on a good day, you know, you think Donald could be C? Do you think? On a good day?
He cleaned up his act. We say this is non-biased, but yeah, Kira is an S and Toru's right at the bottom. Yeah, I'm non-biased, Maya.
We're very non-biased. But yeah, I had a great time. And if you guys want to see some more shenanigans with us too, we got a video on my channel as well. You can watch after this. You've already done the video. So yeah. Wow.
Ta-ta!
Brother, the showdown that was always meant to be. Agni Kai! Almost isn't good enough. No, I love you, Azula.
This video is brought to you by my Patreon supporters and my book on writing and world building, which compiles all of my writing and world building content into a single, easy to read, easy to reference book. And you can pre-order the ebook now on Amazon for just $5 down at the link below. Release date is May 30th. Part 1.
Dad's going to kill you. Really, he is.
Avatar has always endeavoured to bring a depth to its characters, even its villains, and Azula is no exception. Her story is one of abuse, emotional manipulation, mental breakdowns, and deeply broken parental relationships, all things woven into a complex psychology. To examine her, we will begin with 4 traits and what they mean for her psychologically. Azula is introduced to us as a calculating, cunning, and shrewd enemy. And even as a young child, a hallmark of her psychology was a lack of basic empathetic skills. When learning of Lu Ten's death, her cousin, and that Uncle Iroh would be returning from the warfront home, instead of understanding her uncle's pain and grief, she says the following.
Uncle's coming home. It means Uncle's a quitter and a loser. He found out his son died and he just fell apart.
He's probably just sad his only kid is gone.
A real general would stay and burn Ba Sing Se to the ground, not lose the battle and come home crying.
She even theorizes about the death of Iroh in the war with hope.
If Uncle doesn't make it back from war, then Dad would be next in line to be Fire Lord, wouldn't he?
Azula, we don't speak that way.
She is shown to give little concern to the deaths of others at 2 other points as well.
He's not exactly the powerful Fire Lord he used to be. Someone will probably end up taking his place soon.
Even the death of her own brother, Zuko, whom she has known her whole life.
Dad's going to kill you.
She seems completely unable to grasp the gravitas of others dying or the ability to empathize with their suffering in the way that her mother would. Instead, her focus seems to be on what those deaths can do to get what she wants, such as seeing her father on the throne. But a second and perhaps more defining part of her psychology is her proclivity for emotional and psychological manipulation for personal gain. Rather than engaging in direct physical aggression, despite outmatching almost every opponent she could have, she instead undermines her enemies by identifying their weaknesses and exploiting them for personal gain. This is no clearer than during her introductory fight in Season 2 against Zuko, a scene designed to epitomize her character. She begins by playing Zuko's deepest insecurities of being unwanted, unloved, and forgotten against him.
And he considers you a miserable failure for not finding the Avatar. Why would he want you back home, except to lock you up where you can no longer embarrass him?
Azula doesn't even use her firebending at all, despite being superior in skill, but immediately identifies Zuko's deepest insecurities and manipulates his anger and hurt into making him weaker, by first delaying his retreat from battle, and second causing him to lose firebending form. Only in the last moment, when her opponent is at his weakest, does she strike. There also appears to be a glee for Azula that comes with inflicting pain and suffering on others, another hallmark of her psychology, sadism. This trait can be seen in her childhood, with Zuko pointing out how she interacts with animals.
Hey Mom, wanna see how Azula feeds turtle ducks?
Zuko, why would you do that?
This is markedly similar to the morbid and sadistic curiosity of young children who trap, burn, or kill insects or rodents for fun, a sign found in children who are often eventually diagnosed with a violent personality disorder. Even as a teenager, she does things such as destroy a sandcastle of a child in the beach for seemingly no reason. This sadism is complemented by an unconventional sense of right and wrong. Though she does exhibit a moral framework we will discuss later, the notion of doing righteous things for righteousness' sake seems to be foreign to her. When Zuko becomes infuriated that he no longer knows the difference between right and wrong, she dismisses this as pathetic.
Because I'm not sure I know the difference between right and wrong anymore.
You're pathetic.
This part of her psychology too matches with her paramount focus on personal gain. The rigid moral framework of right and wrong that Zuko needs would necessarily conflict with what she wants, particularly when it comes to the acquisition of power. At first, though we might identify these four traits with a severely destructive kind of psychopath, the focus on indirect aggression through manipulation of others for personal gain, in Azula's case, power, is more indicative of what is known as the Machiavellian personality type. In particular, she lacks the impulsivity that is commonly identified with psychopaths, as well as the tendency for emotional outbursts of rage, grief, and sadness when engaging in violence. Her violence is more calculated and limited for the most part, and this Machiavellian psychological framework is reinforced by a number of other traits that we can identify. The first is that Azula's manipulative tendencies are not limited to the antagonistic relationships she has with her enemies, but that she uses them to regulate her social group as well. In the episode The Beach, Azula's position at the top of the social hierarchy of her, Mai, and Ty Lee appears to be a matter of control and social power, and it's threatened when others pay attention to Ty Lee instead of her. The following transpires.
Those boys only like you because you make it so easy for them. You're not a challenge, you're a tease. It's not like they actually care who you are.
Just like with Zuko, Azula immediately identifies Ty Lee's deepest insecurity.
Growing up with 6 sisters who look exactly like me, it was like I didn't even have my own name. I joined the circus because I was scared of spending the rest of my life as part of a matched set.
The idea that she isn't unique or that people don't see her as her own person. Because of this, whether or not she realizes it, Azula's relationships have an undercurrent of exploitation, ensuring her position in the social hierarchy by having one person who worships her every move instead of challenging her.
But you're the most beautiful, smartest, perfect girl in the world.
Azula also has Mai, someone she thinks is too apathetic to ever challenge her, and both of them pale in skill to her as a firebender. In some capacity, she sees them as both there to support her goals. The second trait is her tendency and skill in deceiving those around her. This was clearly enough of a common occurrence even in childhood that a young Zuko would have to tell himself repeatedly,
Azula always lies. Azula always lies.
Azula always lies.
Her skill and deceit comes to light in The Day of Blank Sun Part 2, when not even Toph could determine whether she was lying, something unseen throughout the series. And the third, and perhaps most definitive trait to indicate Azula as a Machiavellian rather than a psychopath, is that her manipulative tendencies are accompanied by a remarkable capacity for patience and level-headedness. She shows surprising premeditative abilities for a 14-year-old, thinking long in advance, putting pieces of her plan in motion long before they ever need to bear fruit. The clearest example of this is in Crossroads of Destiny, where though Azula strikes Aang down with a lightning bolt, she gives credit to Zuko for dealing the killing blow. She frames this suggestion as a kind gesture to her brother.
You seemed so worried about how Father would treat you because you hadn't captured the Avatar. I figured if I gave you the credit, you'd have nothing to worry about.
But it truly hides a trap. Azula doesn't need the credit to remain in power, to remain the golden child in her father's eyes. But it gives her leverage over Zuko, and should the Avatar prove to have survived, it would only solidify her position in the family hierarchy, as Ozai casts Zuko out as an embarrassing failure and liar once more. In this, she plays Zuko's emotions and fragile pride against him, knowing full well that he earnestly wants the approval and affection of his father. The first time in the entire story that we see him get this is when Ozai praises him for taking Aang down.
And I am proudest of all of your most legendary accomplishment. You slayed the Avatar.
This Machiavellian patience even manifests in a deeper form of cunning. Unlike Zuko, she refuses to be dragged or baited into a fight that she knows she can't win. In the episode The Chase, when faced with 6 opponents, she strategically retreats rather than stand her ground, only taking out Iroh as a strategic precaution, knowing full well that he is the only one skilled enough to take her down. Psychologically, this capacity for manipulative patience is complemented by an emotional detachment, not as commonly seen in psychopaths, who are often emotional and impulsive. In the episode The Beach, after hearing how Zuko feels unsatisfied with the love of his father, Ty Lee's desire to distinguish herself as an individual, and May's frustration with her controlling parents, Azula wholly dismisses them all as performances.
Those were wonderful performances, everyone.
I guess you wouldn't understand, would you, Azula?
Performances. At first, not only does she refuse to engage in emotional or relational development, but she seems almost incapable of understanding these exchanges as people genuinely reaching out. Instead, they are performances, emotional displays put on for a purpose, perhaps seeking attention or asserting oneself within the social group. Part 2.
You're the most beautiful, smartest, perfect girl in the world.
The problem is that Machiavellianism is a personality type. It is not a diagnosable disorder. In this light, Azula could be diagnosed with its counterpart, antisocial personality disorder under the DSM-5 criteria. Egocentrism directed at personal gain, a lack of pro-social internal standards, a low functional
called
empathy,
APD nowadays.
a degree of incapacity for mutually intimate relationships but relying on exploitation, and antagonism, made up of an especial focus on both manipulation and furthering one's goals, deceitfulness, and sadism. Though she does not immediately exhibit the factor of antagonism called hostility in the criteria, which is being prone to disproportionate outbursts for minor insults. Instead, her capacity for level-headed patience and manipulation means that she isn't prone to such outbursts for the most part. She also does not exhibit the strong trait of impulsivity that characterizes an antisocial personality disorder. What should be noted here is that all of these traits exist on a spectrum. Not all of those that have ASPD will show every sign. For Azula, sadism is a stronger trait, but for others it may not be. For many, impulsiveness is a stronger trait, but this is not the case for Azula. And while this behavior and mentality could be explained by ASPD, Azula also exhibits a number of traits that might suggest a narcissistic personality disorder. This is hallmarked by a lack of understanding that others are as fully human as oneself, that the interests and pains of those around them are as valid or legitimate. Part of this may come from Azula's position as royalty, being taught by her father such ideas that there is no right or wrong apart from what the Fire Lord decides. This is particularly true when it comes to her relating to commoners or servants whom she regards as inherently inferior, but it also characterizes the relationships she has with those close to her socially. She sees herself as inherently more intelligent, beautiful, and perfect more than anyone else, to the point that she is puzzled as to why others don't see her this way during the beach.
But you're the most beautiful, smartest, perfect girl in the world.
Well, you're right about all those things, but for some reason when I meet boys, they act as if I'm going to do something horrible to them.
This belief in her unlimited brilliance and power is almost fantastical, an illusion reinforced by her father, by the friends she chose, and her desire to believe it. This too is reinforced by her lack of empathy and tendency to use those around her to satisfy her own needs without compassion. No one else can be as brilliant as her because no one else is as human as her. But the DSM-5 criteria for a significant impairment in self-functioning and a narcissistic personality disorder highlights one of the most fascinating parts of Azula's psychology: excessive reference to others for self-definition and self-esteem regulation, or goal setting is based on gaining approval from others. Personal standards are unreasonably high in order to see oneself as exceptional. The second criteria here for an impairment in self-direction is clearly satisfied in the story. One of Azula's clearest personality traits is a deeply rooted need for personal perfection.
One hair out of place almost isn't good enough.
This self-imposed standard is so entrenched in her mind that the scene designed to introduce her character to the audience uses it to define her character. But this first criteria is more interesting. And when it comes to Azula, there are two types of approval to consider. The first is that natural human desire for intimacy with another, and the second is that detached need for superficial self-esteem and status to prop up one's identity externally. Each of these two needs arise from different power dynamics in Azula's relationships. Azula's relationship with her father is the only relationship in which the power dynamic is not pitted in her favor. Because of this, it is the only relationship in which she requires this first kind of approval, a genuine sense of love and affection. In contrast, in every other relationship, Azula is the one in power. And thus, approval is that more detached form of reverence, deference, and worship, a dynamic that involves manipulating and undermining others to be the most beautiful and smartest girl in the room.
I'm so used to people worshipping us.
They should.
Yes, I know, and I love it.
In light of this, Azula would satisfy this first part of the DSM-5 criteria. But we must ask the question that every viewer has had at the forefront of their mind when thinking about the true depths of Azula's psychology. What about the beach? Part 3.
My own mother thought I was a monster.
In Season 3, we were given an episode called The Beach, which places Azula in a social context outside what we normally see. Not only do people not recognize who she is as the princess of the Fire Nation, but there are no enemies around her. At first, we see how Azula's mentality leads her to view even the most basic of social interactions as combative. During a game of beach volleyball, she immediately identifies a weakness of her opponent to exploit.
When she runs toward the ball, there's just the slightest hesitation of her left foot. I'm willing to bet a childhood injury has weakened her.
There is an interesting line that she says afterward.
Yes! We defeated you for all time! You will never rise from the ashes of your shame and humiliation!
Her need for perfection and social dominance means that friendly games are impossible, because to lose something, even something as trivial as this, is a moral failure of shame and humiliation. It's also in this episode that we see how her lack of empathy and combative mentality negatively impact her capacity for social connection with others. There is a clear desire to do so, but it requires skills that are fundamentally opposed to her psychological framework. which lacks the pro-social internal standards or abiding by culturally agreed social cues. The clearest example of this for Azula is being unable to connect with any of the guys at the party, until Ty Lee teaches her how to moderate her own behavior to fit in.
If you want a boy to like you, just look at him and smile a lot and laugh at everything he says, even if it's not funny. How you like is this party.
Though played as a joke, Azula has never had to moderate her behavior in this way before, to conform to a social standard of this kind. Beyond this, her Machiavellian traits and antisocial personality disorder mean that her usual inclination towards emotional manipulation cannot get her what she wants in this scene, the genuine affection of a boy her age. Minna Lyons writes in The Dark Triad of Personality that the Machiavellian individuals were poor in their socio-emotional skills, without understanding what the outcomes of emotional manipulation might be in influencing the dynamics of a friendship. Between Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and narcissism, only narcissism related to higher levels of self-reported socio-emotional intelligence. This research supports the idea that Azula does not have a narcissistic personality disorder. There are smaller examples of her lacking socio-emotional skills as well, such as when she arrives at exactly sundown for the party. Simple colloquial phrases going over her head. But we should not be too quick to attribute this to a disorder. If something can be more easily explained in psychology by simple environmental factors, then it should be. Being raised in the somewhat isolated, rigid social environment of the royal court, where others deferred to her, could also explain these basic social deficiencies more easily. At the same time, this episode is also designed to demonstrate that Azula's Machiavellian persona is not all-encompassing, but there are deeper emotional dimensions to her character. Psychology is never as black and white as that, and Azula is no exception. Though empathy does not come naturally to Azula, I want to narrow in on one scene that gives us a glimpse into her capacity for it in regards to one specific character, Zuko.
Those summers we spent here seem so long ago. So much has changed.
I thought I'd find you here. Come down to the beach with me. Come on, this place is depressing.
This moment is perplexing for Azula's character. When Zuko later talks about his struggles, it's Ty Lee who reaches out, the one who is shown to be the most empathetic of the group. But here, it's Azula. There does not seem to be much of a reason for Azula to purposefully search out her brother and bring him down to the beach here. She has purposefully excluded him before. But there is a depth to her line here. She is simultaneously recognizing that Zuko is in pain and needs to be around other people. And she also reflects on their shared history in this place. That it's depressing. Perhaps because she too sees past the facade of happiness they had in the past, and that she does understand, on some level, the trauma they both grew up under. There is an earlier moment in the story where Azula seems to express genuine remorse when she hurts Ty Lee.
Those boys only like you because you make it so easy for them. You're not a challenge, you're a tease. Okay, calm down. I didn't mean what I said.
One reading of Azula's actions here is that she wants to maintain her position at the top of the social hierarchy by not alienating Ty Lee, who worships her, remorse being an emotion very rarely seen in Machiavellians. And though I prefer to read this moment with Ty Lee as genuine, it doesn't strike me in the same way that Azula's scene with Zuko does. This one is isolated, away from any eyes but their own. The beach is meant to be a place where people can learn about others and themselves, away from the rest of the world. No Fire Lord, no Avatar, no battlefield, no tension. Just a brother and a sister. A glass moment of Azula outside of all of that. As if this is what Azula may have been like if they took away the pressures of the rest of the world, of their father. However, despite this instance of genuine empathy, the scene immediately following does demonstrate how limited this empathetic trait is for her. When Zuko calls Ty Lee a circus freak, she is the only one to laugh, despite knowing how much it hurts her. When Zuko rages that he no longer knows the difference between right and wrong, she scolds.
Oh wow,
One
Beverly
interesting
and
detail
Bailey
in Katie Manila's script of this scene
are max
reflects this limited lack of empathy.
They genuinely cannot go
Azula
any
is
higher now.
silent for most of the conversation.
Wacky.
Where May, Ty Lee, and Zuko trade slights and sympathies, it is almost as if Azula is entirely unable to keep up with them emotionally. And then, as noted before, she dismisses them all as performances. Fictions like costumes one might put on to gain attention, gratitude, or sympathy. She notes that she could weave a sob story about how much Ursa loved Zuko more, but that she doesn't really care. Of course, we know that she does care, deeply. This comes to light in one of Azula's only moments of deep and true introspection.
My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
This moment is of interest because introspection is not a trait commonly found in those showing signs of an antisocial personality disorder, especially a Machiavellian one. Azula's central belief in her superiority and perfection does not allow for admitting weakness or pain, like Iroh did when he lost Lúthien. After the culmination of all of this emotional turmoil, Azula then makes an interesting suggestion: to destroy the party. One reading of this scene is Azula reasserting herself, lashing out violently against those she felt slighted by, retreating from that moment of vulnerability that she allowed herself to feel, and putting herself back in the position of power she knows best. To return to what she feels is a safe social headspace to be in, maintaining control through intimidation and aggression. Part 4.
Lust is for fools. Fear is the only reliable way. Even you fear me.
Following the beach, Azula's psychology takes a darker turn when she begins to develop a delusion of persecution. The idea that those around her are conspiring to cause her harm. It takes root when Azula is caught off guard as May first betrays her, followed by Ty Lee. When asking why, May says something that doesn't just confuse Azula, but it enrages her.
I love Zuko more than I fear you.
Azula has grown up around family relationships based on power and fear, and because of this, she too has based her relationships on it, which May even explicitly acknowledges here. To someone who has only seen power and fear respected, and primarily related to others through those things, the prospect of May acting out of love over fear is unexpected and inexplicable. If someone she controlled for so long through fear can do this, then her whole idea of what makes her strong is being called into question. And being weak is the worst thing you can be. It doesn't fit within her psychological framework and worldview, which is why this is one of the few moments where we see Azula lose her emotional composure.
No, you miscalculated. You should have feared me more.
This scene marks the beginning of delusions of persecution developing in Azula's mind, and it's unsurprising that it begins with May and Ty Lee, the two characters we see she regularly trusts with her life and goals. If they can betray her, anyone can. The seeds of delusion had been planted, but it's important to understand how delusions develop psychologically. In the episode Into the Inferno, Azula begins to suspect those around her of treachery from even the smallest of things. When the Dai Li are a few minutes late to the throne room, she interprets this as purposeful treachery. This is what is known as an interpretative delusion. It begins with a dominant idea such as persecution. There then ensues a reasoning and systematizing process that successfully crystallizes a series of interpretations out of the phenomenon. The dominant idea here is that people are conspiring against her, and a series of events are interpreted to fit that idea. She banishes the Dai Li, and soon after banishes all of the Imperial Firebending Guard and her servants under the same suspicion, even seeing a Cherry Pip as an intentional threat to her position. When Lo and Li arrive to dissuade her from ascending to the throne, she interprets this as an attempt to undermine her authority. This interpretative delusion reaches its height later in the episode when Azula attempts to do her hair by herself, but it tangles and she fails, uttering a peculiar line.
All right, Hair, it's time to face your doom.
Instead of accepting that relying on fear and raw power to accomplish things makes her weaker, she interprets this as her own body conspiring against her. treating her hair like she had all those in the palace. It is at this point that Azula's delusions evolve as she begins to hallucinate her mother.
What a shame. You always had such beautiful hair.
This line is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Azula's desire for perfectionism has always been represented by perfectly symmetrical hair, from her opening scene to when she fought Katara in Crossroads of Destiny. The fact that this is the moment where hallucinations begin could be because seeing this reflection of herself as imperfect is the thing that cuts most deeply. For Azula, to be imperfect is a moral failure. It's shameful and humiliating.
Don't pretend to act proud. You think I'm a monster.
The hallucinatory version of her mother continues to criticize her, playing into her delusions of persecution, that she's too aggressive, too ambitious, her hair is already cut, things that she cannot change about herself. This is somewhat reflective of the relationship that we see they had in her childhood. Interestingly, nearly every interaction Ursa has with Azula is a critical one.
Azula, we don't speak that way. Young lady, not another word. What is wrong with that child? What is going on here?
I don't know.
It's time for a talk.
Facing down against this construction of her mother, Azula reasserts what she has always believed.
Trust is for fools. Fear is the only reliable way.
That fear has made her strong. But her mother rebuts this immediately.
Even you fear me.
No, I love you, Azula. I do.
The scene psychologically repeats Mei and Ty Lee's betrayal. The revelation that love could somehow be a stronger motivator in a relationship than fear for both them and her mother undermines the way in which Azula sees herself as powerful. To be loved is to be weak, because the only way to be strong is through fear, intimidation, and power. To accept otherwise would mean to be imperfect, that she needs others emotionally, that she has a weakness, and nothing was worse than weakness. In much the same as she did in the beach, Azula then lashes out violently, smashing the mirror to reassert her position based on violence and fear. It is at this point that many rush to diagnose Azula with schizophrenia, a disorder characterized by delusions and hallucinations, both of which she now has. Importantly, the delusions also fit the DSM-specific criteria for schizophrenia. Hallucinations consist of a voice keeping a running commentary on the person's behavior or thoughts. Her mother's criticism is precisely this. Schizophrenia also requires A, significant breakdown in interpersonal relations due to these delusions or hallucinations, and B, failure to reach personal standards of excellence. Both of these criteria are definitely met in her banishment of those around her and an inability to maintain the perfect fire-bending composure that she is so well known for, particularly in the last Agni Kai. There is a sharp literary symmetry between her first fight and her final fight with Zuko. Where she was decisive and composed, she is now erratic and without form. Where she fought defensively, she now fights aggressively. And where she never let emotion get in the way, she is now fueled by anger and spite. But it's critical to note that duration is identified as a qualifying factor in diagnosing such a disorder. Even fully functioning people can suffer from temporary psychotic breaks when placed under extreme pressure. And Azula is increasingly isolated and stressed towards the climax of the story. It must persist for at least 6 months, and at least at this point, it would be irresponsible to diagnose so quickly. Part 5.
Don't pretend to act proud. I know what you really think of me.
A second point in Azula's psychological development here is the transition from interpretative delusions to a systematized delusion. One that may involve several themes, and they can turn into complex, all-encompassing narratives. Interpretive delusions grow and warp into a central belief about why the whole world is the way it is in its entirety. Persecutory delusions are particularly prone to this, and Azula's systematized delusion begins here with the belief that her mother is manipulating everything in her life, her failures, her defeat, her betrayals. In The Search, Azula begins to see the actions of others as orchestrated by her mother, tell me how she got to you in May? How she got you to lose your fear of me? Which one of you miscreants does she approach first? How does she convince you to help ruin my life? Eventually, facing another hallucination of her mother, she accuses her outright. You've been conspiring ever since I was an infant to ruin my life because you saw something in me. Power. Power makes you fear me. Not only is her mother transformed into a mastermind whose sole goal is to destroy her and prevent her from ever taking the throne as Fire Lord, but her father, Ozai, is transformed into a saint who fought Ursa off long enough for Azula to find her. A defining element of systematized delusions is that they cannot be challenged and that the world fits into them. Though Azula does not understand how Zuko and Katara could have communicated with her after she disappeared, none of this ever undermines this grand persecutory delusion. They're forced to work around that central belief. It should be noted that Azula has always arguably had delusions of grandeur as well, an inflated sense of self-importance, high self-esteem, and a rigid belief in her inherent superiority. But this persecutory delusion that began in The Boiling Rock eventually warps to include a secondary type of delusion that works within this wider systematized one, a delusion of control. This is the idea that forces outside herself are controlling her thoughts and actions or the actions of others. This becomes clearer later in the search when she finally finds her mother. You don't get it, Zuzu. We'll be finally free. You of the throne you never wanted and me of this incessant nagging in my head. She even earlier accuses Ursa of turning her own mind against her. Psychologically, this is actually to be expected. A 2017 study showed that the delusion of control is not an isolated and pure symptom. It is always immersed in the context of a persecutory delusion. The control is never complete. In all cases, it is possible to trace the history of the narrative formation of delusion of control from its origins in persecutory delusions. To Azula, her mother is the puppet master, putting thoughts and ideas in her head to control her. More specifically, though, the focus in Azula's psychological processes seems to be on the throne, that her mother has done everything she can to put Zuko on it and not her. The closest this systematized delusion comes to breaking for Azula is when it is fundamentally challenged by her real mother in the search. Azula demands to be called a monster, for her mother to admit that she's been orchestrating her downfall the entire time. But Ursa, of course, does no such thing. I'm sorry I didn't love you enough. Once again, it comes back to that love versus fear dynamic. Though this revelation threatens to shatter this worldview, Azula remains deluded. As we discussed before, outside facts are not necessarily rejected, but forced to fit into a persecutory and controlled delusion, which is what we see in the story of Smoke and Shadow. The revelations from the search warp into a stranger delusion. I know I will never be Fire Lord because I'm not meant to be Fire Lord. My destiny is to make you into the Fire Lord I tried to be. One who's strong, one who rules through fear. And then, in a sense, I'll be Fire Lord again. The delusion evolves so that it's not that she was wrong about her mother conspiring, or that she wasn't meant to take the throne. Her mother is still the mastermind, but Azula now knows that she is to be Fire Lord in a way she didn't expect, through manipulating, through puppeting Zuko. Interestingly, this is a contradictory belief system now, something quite common in systematized delusions. Delusions may be signaling a failure of self-knowledge. A person may be of two minds about the content of the delusion. For example, someone who claims that nurses in the hospital want to poison him, but keeps eating the food they give him. Her mother is both simultaneously preventing her from taking her rightful place on the throne, and she is not meant to have the throne now. Though the persistence of her delusions and hallucinations over months and years, built on the lies and abuse of her father, may mean she meets the DSM duration criteria for a schizophrenic disorder, a closer examination of Azula's behavior and psychological processes may be better explained by a second diagnosis, schizoaffective disorder. This is defined as when a person prominently exhibits both schizophrenic signs and major mood symptoms such as manic depression or mania. In the search, Azula is shown to have suicidal tendencies, even throwing herself from Appa while in flight with little regard to her own safety. Uncontrollable thoughts and rapid speech are identified with schizoaffective disorder too, and while not certain, Azula is constantly tormented by her own tumultuous thoughts and voices. Negative symptoms like an inability for self-care are also not as severe for Azula. Despite her initial breakdown, she does show a remarkable return to form in Smoke and Shadow, once again maintaining perfectly symmetrical hair. The defining feature of schizoaffective disorder is experiencing periods of hallucination and delusions without mood symptoms for intermittent periods. This part of her psychology enters something of conjecture, because we can't ask precisely what Azula has felt across her years in the story. But in the comics, there is plenty of suggestion that she experiences bouts of radical anxiety, glee, and depressive thoughts. Collectively, these features would suggest a schizoaffective disorder rather than just schizophrenia. Part 6.
What is wrong with that child?
Before delving any deeper, it's important to recognize that psychological disorders are not explanatory by themselves. A diagnosis is not the end of the discussion. These mentalities and disorders develop under a host of environmental factors, and in particular, we should examine Azula's relationship with her parents to see where this mentality comes from. One of the interesting things that we see in Zuko's flashbacks is that though there are moments of tenderness with Zuko, virtually every interaction between Azula and her mother is a negative one. Azula even clearly overhears her own mother questioning what is wrong with her.
Young lady, not another word. What is wrong with that child?
This kind of dynamic can be quite damaging for a child. This is not to say that Ursa was emotionally abusive to Azula at all. She clearly loves her, and on a subliminal level, Azula even understands this. Where then does this belief that her mother sees her as a monster come from? This leads us to a concept called co-parenting, which is the degree of unity in the ways two parents teach and nurture a child, here being Ozai and Ursa. The two parents bear a stark contrast in parenting strategies. Ursa seems to positively reinforce social skills and behaviors that are based on trust, empathy, and love. And her approval is not dependent on their skills like their firebending. In contrast, Ozai only seems to find worth in his children in their expressions of power, cunning, and loyalty, with a darker truth that these skills are useful in furthering his own goals. The clearest scene to demonstrate this dynamic is when Azula and Zuko demonstrate their firebending abilities to Fire Lord